Hi and welcome to Dr. Daga Says. My name is Dr. Aaron Maululu Dagadu. You can call me Dr. Daga. And today I'm going to try to explain diabetes using a simple analogy. I hope it's simple enough. I think it's important to understand some of these conditions because understanding how it happens can help us prevent them better. And if we do have them, may help with our compliance with our management. Okay, so let's dive right in, shall we? All right, so let's assume the human body is a town, a bustling town that has so many factories. Right now, every town requires some energy to be able to function easily. Right, so there are factories in the town that are dedicated to producing energy for the town. And I think I would liken these factories to the cells in the body. And these cells or these factories require employees, factory hands. People have to get into the factories to work to produce the energy. Okay, and so let's just say these factory hands are glucose. So glucose has to enter the cell in order to produce energy. Right now, the door that the factory hands will go through has to be opened by a key, and the key in this case is insulin. Right, so again, taking this from the top, glucose has to enter the cell by the help of insulin, and once that happens, energy can be produced. Now there are certain problems that may go wrong. Something can prevent glucose from going into the cell. Let's go back to our key and lock analogy. Sometimes the lock may just be very old, may be jammed, and so you need a little more force to try to open the door, or the door will just not open. So the key is available, the lock is available, but they are just not gelling. They are just not linking up, right? That is insulin resistance. So there is insulin in the blood, adequate amounts of insulin, but the receptors are just not responding, and so glucose builds up in the blood. The employees are just hanging around on the streets. Okay, the other thing that could go wrong is when the manufacturers of the key stop manufacturing the key, right? So you have all these doors with locks on them and that require keys to open them, yet there are no keys in circulation. Maybe the factory that produces the keys has burnt down or something, or they've run out of business or something. So in the same way, there are certain cells in the body we call beta cells, and these beta cells are found in the pancreas, the factory. These are supposed to produce insulin. So because of some problem, maybe it's from trauma or some toxins or some autoimmune condition, these beta cells are just not able to produce insulin. And so the insulin levels in the blood are low. So with low levels of insulin, you have high levels of glucose because now the glucose can't enter the cells anymore. Right? So these are the two main ways that diabetes may happen. And I've been saying diabetes from the beginning, but I'm actually talking about diabetes mellitus. We have other types of diabetes, but then for this video we're talking about diabetes mellitus, right? So these are the two main ways that it could happen. It's either your insulin is adequate and it's just not being responded to by the cells, or you are just not producing enough insulin. Now with these two problems, you have glucose accumulating in the blood. Let's come back to our analogy. When you have all the employees hanging around the streets, they crowd the streets, they are unemployed, they are homeless, a lot of social vices can occur. They start to vandalize shops, go robbing people, go destroying churches and schools and whatnot, just basically trying to make ends meet for themselves. Okay, so in the same way, when the glucose levels rise in the blood, wherever you find yourself, it can cause problems. Within the blood vessels, you have microangiopathies going on. In the eyes, you may have retinopathies, diabetic retinopathies, blindness occurring. You have people who may get nerve issues, diabetic neuropathies, right? They stop feeling pain and they get some burning sensations. When they get wounds on their feet, the wounds just don't heal, and so on and so forth. The complications are myriad, and it's just because of the high levels of glucose in the blood. Also, the high levels of glucose in the blood cause a classic triad of symptoms: polyphagia, polydipsia, and polyuria. Let me explain. Polyphagia is excessive eating or excessive hunger. And you are getting hungry not because there's no glucose in your system, but the body just assumes there's no glucose in your system. You have high levels of glucose in your blood, but the glucose is not getting into the cells to work, and so there's no energy being produced. So the body just interprets that as hunger, as you not having eaten enough, and so you get hungry. So that's starvation in the midst of plenty. Then there's polyuria. With polyuria, you are just peeing a lot, and the reason why you're peeing a lot is because glucose is highly osmotic. It gets into the urine and draws water to itself, and so you just have high levels, high volumes of pee. And if you are peeing a lot, you're going to be losing a lot of water, and so you get thirsty to try to replace that water, and that's the polygypsia, right? But fear not, there are ways to control this chaos, just like how you may dispatch police to go and control the crowds and stop the rioting. You can also take control of your health by employing healthy lifestyle habits, eating healthy foods, exercising regularly, checking your blood sugar regularly can help to prevent all these complications from occurring. So remember, understanding diabetes and how it comes about can help you prevent it and also to control it when it does arise. So if you found value from this video, kindly hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so that anytime I post any new video, you will be the first to receive it. Catch you in the next one.